A very good morning, everyone. Welcome to Admiral Markets. Sorry for that delay there. I didn't realize actually it was 7:45, and I looked at the clock and oh, oops, forgot about that. Somehow I thought it was a bit earlier. In any case, we're going to take a look at the charts together, of course. But first of all, this risk disclaimer explaining that trading for exchange and global financial markets is considered high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that, and this webinar is for educational purposes only. Good. So each session, normally we have a specific theme that we look at. Let's take a look what that is today. But in general, the trading plan, what we're looking for or at is defining the trend. Then we are looking for an opportunity. Then we're checking if there are any filters that could be blocking the trade from materializing, like divergence, for instance. Establishing the trigger, for example, a fib, but then deciding the entry method, which could be, for example, a price action at the fib. You will see fibs, trend lines, and moving averages primarily, and support and resistance, of course. And with that said, we can close this PowerPoint and head over to Admiral Markets website. If you want to register for more webinars, go to admiralmarkets.com, go to education, click on webinars, and then you'll see a list where you can sign up. Tonight we got scalping the Forex market with me and Talantala, and next week we got the usual schedule again. Today we're going to take a look at Fibonacci trading, by the way. So with that said, let's take a quick look at the Forex calendar. Yesterday we had odd employment change, which was very negative compared to the forecast. And that did send the Aussie spiraling down. The Aussie was already falling yesterday, paused at a support trend line, but then crashed with this Aussie negative news. We got USD core CPI later today and some mixed or some various Eurozone news as always. With that said, let's take a look at the charts and take a look at that Aussie. Now, the funny thing was that I think I talked about it yesterday. Wait, I don't have my drawing tool open. I think we talked about it yesterday, but the funny thing is here is that you can see how this 50-minute chart, where it was support, right, this moving averages, and then when the price broke through it, this became resistance, and boy, oh boy, it's been falling ever since. Very strong fall, in fact. And last night, with that unemployment figure, there was definitely this consolidation, and that figure broke that consolidation for a good fall. As you can see, accelerated upon the news release here, and about 100 pips. So that was a good break, but it was a news release break. But Aussie, therefore, looking very, very bearish. We can expect maybe some correction, maybe a bear flag. That would be great. A break of that bear flag would be a perfect continuation of this downtrend. All right, so basically, in my opinion, there were two trades, one from here to the support, and then upon the break of support, if you don't mind trading the news, that is, but technically it was there, then I do expect one more. This is a very strong, awesome oscillator, so I would expect some correction, and a break would be a lovely continuation. Vio, I'm not sure. You don't need a telephone number. Do you hear me, first of all? You wouldn't need to use a telephone number. You just need to basically connect to the webinar, and then you would hear me. Okay. I hope you hear me. So that's what I'm expecting on the Aussie. Euro odd has the same. This too. Looking at the moving averages, you can see everything was above, made a bit of a retrace, then quickly broke above it, and that was a good breakout too. Let's see. I think, Bob, that you might want to check your speaker sound, because on my end I don't see anything how it's different from normal or usually. So good to see you, by the way, Bob. But my mic is pretty close, so I don't think there's anything I can alter to make it louder or more or higher volume. Let me say it this way. So Aussie is looking very very powerful, very weak, but powerful in its move. That's what I mean. It's strong in its downside. Let me say it this way. So here too, you're odd. This could be a correction, and a break of that would be lovely as well, right? So you put a different template on. This is the 4-hour chart. You can see this was a strong correction, but with this impulse up and a hook back, I was really looking for upside continuation. That's what happened. And any correction here, definitely a good trade. This is a strong daily, weekly uptrend, and we've had basically a breakout of this correction, and we can expect that correction continuation. I mean the upside to continue. The only level we have to be a bit worried about is about 155.80 logically, which are tops. That would be the target for now. The band, this green band, is 169 EMA and 144 EMA close. So this odd, we will see basically everywhere. Pound odd as well. Odd yen too, by the way. Odd yen yesterday broke a type of consolidation that was very long. I was actually thinking about taking the hook back here, but then had some doubts because of the Aussie was at a support level still, and the yen was moving up. But eventually they did crash during the news event very nicely, so it's a shame maybe that I didn't take it, but the 786 fib eventually provided a down move to this minus 618. Well, anyhow, that's life. What can you do? So that's the odd weakness, basically, very apparent, but I would rather wait for a bit of a bigger bear flag or something like that. I mean, if you're in this trade, you could easily move the stop loss to above this tops and lock in that profit. Same holds true for your odd. If you're not, I think shorting it here has its risks, or logging it here has its risk. Here too, if you move the stop loss to below this consolidation, it makes plenty of sense to me, and lock in that profit. You can always re-enter when this finishes its correction, or probably not that far, maybe something like that, and then starts to break. You can always re-enter upon the break. That's what I would do at least. But right here, right now, I don't think it makes that much sense to enter. I would rather wait for a bigger, just at least for price to go back to this band, for example. How about the euro? Let's take a look. Yeah, New Zealand and pound Swiss, surely we can do that right after the euro dollar. Okay, I'll just take a look at the euro because I know a lot of people like the euro. So it's always, of course, interesting to look at this. And we did see euro dollar fall to that 786 and 886 region. We did see the 618 bounce as well. I was hesitant to take it here because the 618 was so close by. And it did provide some support. So looks like the best trade was probably upon the pullback, in fact, down to the 786, 886 region, as you can see. So that indeed played out. We, there was that opportunity that this was could have been a bear flag, we said yesterday, and it turned out to need to be a bear flag. And a break, hook back and go, classical for the $0. But that was an intraday, good intraday trade there. The 886 from a longer perspective, we said, was still a support level. Why? Because of this trend line. And support, of course, we have these bottoms here as one play. So that's why we saw a bounce here, not surprisingly. Also, if you look at time factor, what do we see here? Let me put a different template on. What do we see here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours that couldn't break this bottom. What is the time factor rule that I've said more often? If a bottom doesn't break within 5 hours, or 5 candles, I should say, not 5 hours, 5 candles, 5 to 6 candles, so it depends on which time frame, then that particular impulse is, there's a high chance that particular impulse is over, right? Here we had the same, here we have the same. So after that, this pullback, basically, either a good way to exit, or maybe, if you're looking for a counter momentum trade, but still it's a good bounce off a daily line, that could have been a good buying area if you were behind the charts, though, at 2 a.m. GMT time. No, it's actually 1 a.m. GMT. Anyhow, that upside didn't go all too far, though, for the moment. But I would say it's still, we have this trend line here in play. So the daily chart is still up, but obviously the 4-hour has a lot of downside pressure. So those two time frames don't really line up that well at the moment. So basically what I would say is this is a bounce for break spot. This could be a bounce for hook back and go, or we could see the breakthrough. So I would think that basically either this top, this bottom, and this bottom, roughly these three levels, I would say, are a good indication. If we break above 136.30, there could be some space for upside. And a break below, we could see some fall and continuation of that fall. Why 136.30? Because it's just, I think this will become a fractal. It's not yet. We need one more candle next to it, but as you can see, also interesting enough is that where did price go to when it rebounded? To the long-term moving averages, to our long-term band. That's where it stopped. So that's why I say if it breaks above this, then the trend is probably, the 50-minute momentum is probably shifting to the upside. The 50 momentum currently is a bit of a mix. Why? Why mix? Because yes, price is below the moving averages, but the black band is or was still pointed up here. Only now is it kind of flat. So for me to say that the 50 momentum is fully down is too early. We would need the next 50-minute fractal break, then we could say everything is down. So let's see if this stays a fractal. We need another 50-minute candle to close above this level for that to be a valid fractal, though. But anyhow, maybe I'm going into too much detail now, but I think you hopefully see my point is that this is an important level for me, because if we break that, there's most likely a momentum shift. For the moment, though, there's more momentum to the downside, but we are close to support, and that momentum to the downside is still a bit early. That would be the summary. Can we look for a short at 36.50? $36.50. Yeah, maybe. It is a resistance level here. I mean, it could be a level that makes sense. And maybe we see some upside, hit that level, and we could see a retrace and and then maybe continuation, for example. It's possible. I don't know. Is that a level that it's not? I don't use certain levels on the euro dollar like maybe Tarantula does. Maybe he has said that 136.50 is very important. For example, I'm not sure. In general, of course, 50 is a halfway number. It is a bottom here. It is a top here. So that makes sense to me. Otherwise, to me, it doesn't have any other importance than that. But the thing is that I'm not really, as you probably noticed, don't really plan trades like that. So for me, it would be difficult to help you with that. I normally don't really look at certain levels unless it's a big fib level, but more of the time I'm looking for momentum breaks, kind of. Or if I'm looking for a level, it's more like a level that really has a bigger influence, or I expect a bigger move. Because I see this top and a break of that as a potential bullish breakout, therefore shorting at 36.50 becomes less attractive to me, as you can probably imagine. So after this, I would say that's why that doesn't appeal to me too much. But I can see I can see that it could happen indeed. What we're going to do? Oh yeah, the odd New Zealand. Odd New Zealand did stop at the big monthly support right here. There is one more monthly support. Right there. It did stop at that level, as we can see. If we look at the daily, bang on. No, sorry, wrong chart. Sorry. No, here we did stop, roughly speaking, at that level after a good downtrend here. Let me get rid of this channel. So we had double bottom, then pushed through it, went to the monthly green line, and it never even hooked back to that level. Didn't have enough power to go to the upside. So the next, now that we've broken through this monthly support, the next could be all the way at 104.25. The odd New Zealand is definitely in a tremendous downside, of course, ever since fall, and of course prior to that as well, as we can see, not only since fall, but in fact since beginning of this year, right? Last year, sorry. And even before that, as you can see. So there was a bigger consolidation, but we've broken that and nicely moving to the downside. So this could definitely continue in its downside. Here too, though, I would be looking for some bigger consolidation. Let's see. I think that it's enough to look at the hourly chart and look for a retrace. I would say maximum, because this is a fib webinar, so we'll put some fibs on. I think 23.6 or 38.2 is probably the max we could expect before we continue down again. Björn is thinking about a trade at the next support. yeah, that makes sense. That level, there's a good chance that it will hold, and it could be a very big bouncing spot even, because potentially, because if you look at the weekly, well, this is a big level. I can't see anything before that, unfortunately. But if my memory is correct, I think that this level is very low in the odd New Zealand history. All right. So as far as I remember, this is a very low level. With that said, that could be definitely a bigger bouncing spot, maybe because this is a big trend. So we could see maybe some bigger retracement here. This trend, of course, is a big trend, but sometime you would think that there could be a bigger retracement, or maybe even a bit of a reversal back to maybe a resistance level, for example. That could happen. So trying to fish or catch something at that level for that potential move makes definitely sense to me. So good trade idea. Thanks for that, Björn. Next one is pound Swissy. Can't seem to find it. 1 second. There it is. Let me take everything off because make it less messy. Let's see. Pound Swissy, very choppy, isn't it? Let me take a look at the weekly. We can see that basically all this chop is just part of this slow grinding upside on the pound Swissy. A very slow mover the last couple of years. Maybe makes big ups and downs within these small movements, but from a weekly perspective you can see a grand fall and it's now just almost flat. The Swissy is not moving that much relatively compared to when it was strengthening, of course, so much in the previous decade. I think, yeah, no, let me take a look at the monthly. Yeah, most of it was before 2010 indeed. Anyhow, down to the daily. We could see maybe some uptrend channel like this, in fact. And within that uptrend channel, you can see a lot of big consolidation zones. Right, big ones. Look at that. Lots of them, in fact. If there was any impulse, usually most of the time it was up. The upside did get some good impulse. This was a good impulse down, though. And yeah, to me, it looks like it's in an uptrend, as I said. It looks like it's back to support and bounced off support. But we also just hit the resistance, so it's not easy to say. This was a very big impulse down, so this could be a correction for more downside as well. I'm not a big fan of this pound Swissy at the moment. I just don't like its entire structure, but there could be a breakout trade here to the downside. Let me put on a different template. Yeah, it looks like that was a good breakout trade right in here. So I'm not sure. Let's see who asked for the pound. We'll see, Mohammed. If you're looking at something specific, let me know. Or if you have a question, let me know. Or if you have a trade idea and you want to share it with others, let me know. What I see basically is a daily uptrend, but a 4-hour big rejection down. So we could see some follow through of that. And if you look at the 15, we are seeing on the 15 we are seeing a potential trend change. We've got the moving averages red, prices below them, and the break below 148.50 looks like a break to the downside. With that said, let me take a look at the pound against the odd in New Zealand quickly. Pound New Zealand, we were talking about, I think yesterday, about potential short. I did take that trade, but I moved my stop loss above here, and it was just a small loss. I trail stopped the 50-minute fractal, but I was a bit surprised that it actually didn't follow through here to the downside. It looked very nicely set up, good break, but I guess that sometimes happens. I got a pretty sturdy pound strength, in fact. Didn't expect it. Well, that's one advantage of trail stopping it as well. So to me, at the moment, let me take off these lines. I would think that a break of this line, for example, looks good to me. But it could be even better to wait for a break of this line where we have two touches, wait for price to fall, and then move down again. Regarding the fibs, well, there's probably a fib here. We stopped at 38.2, as you can see. So the target for the pound New Zealand might be this minus 272. 4-hour chart is certainly in a downtrend, as we can see. Right, there was a good impulse just down, 38.2 fib. So we might see that fall if we break below purple trend line. But maybe before we look at the pound, other pounds, let's first take a look at the pound dollar effect. Pound is continuing its downside. Had a sturdy fall yesterday. That bounced off support, but is now continuing that downside. And this 1-hour, 4-hour chart is showing that we might be actually changing gears here. We already broke out of this trend line like that yesterday. We also broke out of this trend line. So that was a good fall. There was still support though. That's why it bounced right here, as you can see. That level. That was the target. That's where it did stop. And after a correction, we're still getting some follow-through of this downside momentum. So we could see a follow-through to the next fib. If we put a fib from here to here, no, that's not the one. Forgot which fib I had. 1 second. Ah, they were targets. Okay. Sorry, it was the other way around. If we put a fib probably from here to here, you can see the minus 272 target. That price could fall to that target, for example, and then bounce. So there could be some intraday shorts to that level, which really falling fast, in fact. Let me see on the 5. Yeah, now that we've broken this bottom, I would say any hook back to this level, for example, 163.40. Any move back to the moving averages would be a good for another short down to at least 450 pips, maybe 60 down to this target. I think that's the trade we could expect for today. Euro pound is in fact, let's see, breaking potentially to the upside. We got a trend line like this. We could also put a fib on this upside. If we do break, we could see we hit the 50. The target would be minus 272 at 83.80 for that's the euro pound. Let's take a look at Kiwi. Kiwi, we talked about the fact that this is resistance and that most likely we will not break above that level. So that's what happened. We reversed here with the pin where we had a pin bar, daily pin bar at that resistance zone. So I would see wicks here. So that wouldn't be a bad idea if you're looking at this 4-hour chart. Now I don't normally trade this type of trading, but I can imagine that people who are trading ranges see resistance, see price action like that. I can imagine that there are traders who took shorts there. Well, then you did a very good job because it is moving nicely down at the moment. The next support level is this trend line, we could say, but also the moving average here. We broke through these tops already, in fact, so it looks pretty bearish. Let's take a look at the hourly. Hourly, we're still at a potential support level, and then we could move down, I would say. Let's take a look at the 15. 15 is obviously in a downtrend. I wouldn't doubt about that. I guess the only thing what I don't like is that it's right at that green band, which normally sees a bigger, not big, but maybe some smaller consolidation still before falling. That would be pleasant. Doesn't look so that we're getting that. It looks like we're breaking through this bottom as we speak, but I'd rather wait for a bit of consolidation back to around 83.20, 83.25, and then fall again. That would be more pleasant, I think. Yeah. We had the break. Unfortunately, the break already happened here, as you can see. There was a very small kind of triangle formation here. So it looks bearish to me. I guess the only question is how and not only, when exactly and where. But direction, I think, is set for downside until at least the support, I would say. Would you think so too, Kalen? Within a within the daily chop, basically, right? The daily range. Cool. Kalen also thinks so, by the way. So if anyone disagrees, let me know. It will be, we can compare reasons. Yeah, you're searching for entry. Yeah, I can imagine. Well, let's see. If you take it right here, right now, let's see. This bottom is at 83.09. It's possible even now, by the way, but you would have to put the stop loss. I would put the stop loss at 83.53 maybe. Right there. That's well above the moving averages. It's well above these two tops. So I think the stop loss is safe. It's about 46 pips, which means if you then aim for 82.50, 52, then you got about 1-to-1 trade. But it's a pretty solid trade, I think. It's about a 1-to-1 indeed. Yeah, 1-to-1 is not the most exciting, but would do pretty well, I think. You can even go maybe a bit tighter to, let's see what the stop loss. The spread is about, let's say, 1.5 pips at the moment here. So 46, you could even go to maybe 43, 48, but just above this moving averages here, 48, that would tighten it a bit. Then it would be 54 versus 42 roughly. About a 1.3, makes it a bit better. $83, $82.30. Okay, yeah, you could also target a bit lower indeed, that's true. The reason why I was doing higher was because of the trend line. But that depends. You can also trail stop the 50-minute world to get try to get more out of it. Dollar Swissy. Broke to the upside. Let's see if there's maybe not much space to the upside left because of these resistances here. It definitely had a very good breakout here. You can see, look at this one. This is a perfect ascending triangle in a way. What I was looking at was a break of this line. That was a bit choppy, and you can see why, because basically price was still fighting against these moving averages. But when the price was above the moving averages, it actually was a better break upon this one. It's like an ascending wedge. That was a very nice one. If using the 50-minute world, I would recommend 6 pips behind the 50-minute fractals. So we have a consolidation ever since here. Let's take a look at the fib on the 1-hour chart. Yeah, we hit the minus 618 target, as you see. You see, we bounced from the 23.6 up to the minus 618. So we could expect a bit of consolidation what we're getting now. We're at the 50 fib here. I guess for me to really get interested in this upside, we would need to see some move up and then a break of the next fractal here. Then it would be interesting to take the dollar Swissy. All right, the entry above the 50-minute fractal, stop loss here, and the target would be, let's see, And the target could be these 4-hour highs here. It's not much space though, so you can also trail stop it and hope that it breaks. So dollar Swissy looks like a good break to me today. Odd USD is already breaking. It's always difficult to trade it when it has such a big impulse and makes a shallow retracement. That's why it's good to be in it and trail stop it. But if you're not trail stopping it and not in it, it's always difficult because will it continue a bit and then retrace, or will it retrace right away? You're exposed to that danger all the time, so that's always a bit difficult. Pound dollar downside looks interesting for me today when we get a bit of a retracement maybe for continuation. Let's see. The break was kind of small so far, but I do think that we can see follow through. What else? Euro dollar, if we do bounce, maybe some upside potential, but let's see. It's definitely counter trend at the moment. Kiwi could fall to downside indeed. Dollar CAD hit the 110, right? So not that interesting at the moment for me. Yeah, not so interesting. We need to break probably above this level for me to get really interested in the dollar CAD upside. It isn't an uptrend. Dollar Swissy, let's see, Kalen has a trade idea, 90.47, 491, 90.47. I don't think it will get that low. I mean, it could go that low, I'm not saying, but it will be a bit different than I expect. Let me say it this way. At the moment, it's still a 50-minute uptrend, so I'm interested in going long if it breaks to the upside. If it were to go down to 90.47, the momentum is already down in a way. But there could be a bouncing spot though, but then we would have to change the fib though. Yeah, that's why, yeah? You're looking at the 50 fib. Gotcha. Let's see if that makes sense from a 4-hour chart. There's a potential to fall here indeed. If you look at the 4-hour, we're respecting this top. We have a fractal here. This is 1, 2, 3, fourth candle. If the next one doesn't break, then we could see a bit of a retrace. And indeed, the 50 fib could be a very nice one. We got a top here. We are set in an uptrend. Look at the moving averages are green. We have a broken top there at 50 fib. That could be definitely a level. The 61.82 at 90.32. If that is a bouncing spot, let's put a fib on this side. Then if this is a bouncing spot, we might actually eventually move higher all the way here. But we could be dealing with this resistance line. So down, bounce, hit that trend line, respect it, then probably break. Something like that could happen indeed. Yeah, so that makes sense to me. Let's see if the next few hours maybe it could still break to the upside, but if it doesn't do that, then there is that chance of retracement. Let me check the time frame. This candle started at 9. Let's see, at 9 o'clock. So that's an hour ago. So still has about 2.5 hours to go before this 4-hour candle is finished. So we still have basically, I would say, entire London session. So we have to see, how that London session, how the dollar Swissy goes. Let's see. Yeah, sure. 28 minutes before the hourly. All right, no, that's no doubt about that. I was looking at the 4-hour. Yeah, 147 minutes. Yeah, 2.5 hours indeed. Alrighty, I'm just writing down the moving average settings there for Suiram. Good. So let's continue with something else. Maybe dollar yen. We haven't looked at the dollar yen yet. Let's see. So I took this break above here, was hesitating about this pullback. In retrospect, it was indeed a pullback to go, but had a bit of a doubts there, but it did. And it did continue to push through. You can see how nicely the 50-minute fractals work as a guideline, for the upside. So at the moment, my stop loss is just below these fractals. And I have a target just above here. I actually just missed my target by a few pips. So I took a dollar yen long, but was a bit unlucky with that TP. That can happen sometimes. But still in the game here with the stop loss just below there. So let's see how that goes. In any case, though, this upside is getting closer sooner or later to resistance. So in my opinion, one point or another, you would expect to get some correction down, but let's see if that happens. But you know how it goes. A move up can be very strong, but when it approaches a big resistance, there is a very high probability that it will cause the currency to at least either stall, which means it goes flat, and then we could break up and I would break out and I wouldn't mind to trade it, or we could see a bigger fall and then up, or we could see actually even a bigger retrace all the way down to 102.20. That's what could happen. I don't see this breaking and continuing immediately, but there's always a small chance that it could happen. But if you look at charts, then usually support and resistance does cause the currency to at least make some consolidation like a triangle or wedge. So I'm cautious on the dollar yen. I'm still in a long, but I'm just up by, I put the stop loss plus 7 pips, and hopefully it'll just make one more push up to my target. And then one point or another, I am expecting some kind of stall in this upside. Yeah. In retrospect, though, if I look at the hourly, actually this was what I misinterpreted. If you look at the moving averages, everything was green, and we broke this 1 hour fractal. So that break, in fact, was a good candle, and the next hourly candle retracement this dip actually was probably worth it, but sometimes you just miss these signals when you're trading live. Oh well, doesn't matter. I took it a bit higher. In any case, let's move on to something else. Maybe the euro yen. A fractal is, Mason, is you see these arrows here? So that's the fractal. You can find it. You can add it to your own chart by going to Insert, Indicators, Bill Williams, Fractals. And a fractal is support and resistance. It's a support and resistance that is plotted on all charts. And it's plotted as soon as one candle low is lower than two candles to the left and two candles to the right, or if one candle high is higher than two candles to the left and two candles to the right. Of course, it could be more candles, but at minimum they have to be two to the left, two to the right. If a candle high doesn't have that and has, for example, any other combination, like this, for example, then this particular candle is not a fractal because it has a candle, two candles to the right is higher. So that's why you would see these fractals at resistance spots and at support spots. Does that make sense, Mason? So the euro yen had a good breakout to the upside here. No problem, Mason. I just wanted to check if you know, I made sense in the explanation. So euro yen had a good upside break. That was an Asian session, but it seems to be running out of steam a bit at this resistance level, which, as I said, is not surprising. We're a bit, just a bit shy of the -272 target after this 50% bounce. From the 4-hour perspective, we stopped at the 886 fib. But we also broke above this this top. So I think there's a fair chance that this retracement is basically just a move down for potentially more upside. The moving averages are pretty flat, but there is definitely a chance. We do have a very strong uptrend prior to that, and this could be just a retracement for more upside. So that definitely could happen. If that doesn't happen, then I would probably need to see a move below 141.80. Other than that, I don't trust this downside. It looks more bullish to me. If we do break below 141.80, then things look differently. Pound yen, let's take a look. Probably about the same, in fact. Either a bullish breakout here or a bullish breakout below here. Kaden is asking what the use is of 136 moving average. Why 136? Well, it's basically the hourly band, the hourly 34 translated down to the 50-minute world, roughly speaking. Pound CAD is struggling too because the CAD was very weak, but it is maybe hitting certain resistance. So like the dollar CAD, so the CAD is maybe not as weak as it was. It hit the 110, so I'll be cautious with the CAD for the moment. I'm trying to think which currency we didn't look at yet. Is there anything we missed? I think we looked at all of them now, maybe except the pound odd. Pound odd, let's see, broke above this very strongly as well, just like the euro odd, right? And made a sturdy correction within this uptrend, as you can see, down to, up to the 786, boom, down to the 272, boom, off of that target, and a lot of impulse here. And in fact, it could be breaking as we speak. That could be worth a trade, in fact. Let me see. As I said, I was looking for some kind of consolidation on the odd. This might already qualify, in fact, so that looks pretty interesting. Let's see, 158, 185.90 is the high. I might put an entry at about 185.96 just for a small dip. And the stop loss I will put at 185.30. It's a big one, but the pound odd is just tremendous movements, very big movements. I'll be trail stopping it by 6 pips every 15-minute fractal. Inverted head and shoulders. Maybe. Looks a bit, I mean, the shoulders are a bit unequal, so looks kind of, it would be a funny looking or different looking type of person in that case if with this shoulder you know, way closer to the head, but I see what you mean though. In any case, it definitely had a very strong impulse. And if we put a fib, in fact, on this very first impulse, yeah, the target could be the minus 618. That could be another 150 pips, in fact. Looks like my entry order was just missed. But it still could go back. looks like a few pips, or maybe 2-3 pips, I'm not sure. There's a 1 pip difference here plus spread, so it was close, but let's see. I'm not going to jump in. I'd rather wait for, knowing that the number of ups and downs we usually get, I'm sure that price will make that down before it makes an up. Probably even retrace lower, maybe even to this trend line in fact. But yeah, looks like a good smaller bull flag. As I said, I'm just looking for a small bull flag like that, as I said. So it's worth the risk and try. Any questions maybe so far? I think we've looked at all the pairs we normally look at. Is there any other pair you want to look at, or any specific pair that you want to take a look at again? Or any questions, let me know. We'll have to push off today at the top of the hour though, this time around. You're in New Zealand. Sure, we can take a look at that. And Kaylin is looking at the Kiwi. Definitely, we can do that. No problem at all. Just give me 1 second. I'm just thinking about adjusting something on this trade. Alrighty. Good. So let's go to the Euro New Zealand. There's a lot of lines here. Let me take that off. So we had a bit of a downside, obviously. This downside, oh, what happened there? Yikes. Missed me again. That's a bit unlucky. Second time. That would be a bit unlucky if I was thinking about moving it a bit higher. Oh well. That's why I was thinking if I wanted to adjust it. Well, anyhow. That can happen, I guess. Normally, the market always makes these retraces, but 85.96 was asking just a tad too much, I can see. Yeah, I could have indeed. I don't like it that much, but oh well, doesn't matter. Too greedy. No, it's more not about greed, but it's more that I like to plan it and just like to have an order waiting instead of buying it at market. So that's the reason. But anyhow, it doesn't matter. Doesn't happen too often. Normally, the level I have usually gets hit, and because of that, actually, what it helps. This case not, but normally what it helps is if I put a level in, I actually get normally a better price than if I take market order, because if I take a market order, I'm usually not patient enough to wait for a level to hit, and then I take it about here, and usually it does save me like 10, 15, 5, number of pips. So usually it's good. No, I'll still keep the entry order there. It hasn't gone away. I will delete it as soon as I see a 15-minute fractal that is above my entry order, then I'll delete it. So the market could still easily get back to my level. Just that it moved away within the 5-minute world doesn't mean it's gone. It still needs to make a lower high on the 5-minute world. We have a high here, a fractal here. This is still one move up. So what I would expect is still a retracement to hit this trend line probably, or at least take my entry order in. So I'm still expecting it, in fact. You know how many times the market moves up and down. If not, no problem. As soon as the 50-minute world has a fractal that's above my entry, I'll delete it. So Euro New Zealand, back to Euro New Zealand. Oh yeah, I deleted it by accident. There it is. A lot of choppiness in honesty. The daily, you can see how wacky this is. So we'll skip the daily. Let's take a look at the 4-hour. Broke out of this downside nicely though. This upside, sorry, and made a nice downtrend so far. If we put a fib, I'm sure that, yeah, we came close to this 272 target. We've bounced off of that target. So this could be maybe a first attempt to round up. Let's see. It's a bit too early to tell. There is a potential maybe inverse head and shoulders if we were to move up and then down and up again like that. But that's too early to tell. First of all, we still need to break out of this trend line, in fact. All right, so we are seeing some upside momentum here. We would need to be able to push above that trend line, I would say, to get more of a bullish breakout. If we do continue with this downtrend, we'll probably need to break below that trend line for anything of a downside. So these two trend lines, I think, the most important on the Euro New Zealand. Regarding the targets, if we do break out to the upside, then resistance levels, I would say the band here could be resistance. We could see breakout up to 165.17, for example, roughly. If we do break to the downside, then I would put a fib from here to here, and then we probably got a 50 or 618 bounce. Then the target should be the minus 272 and the minus 618 at around 161 and around 160. The Kiwi. There it is. Kiwi 83.30. Can we expect 83.30 again? There is that chance, yes, because we have fractals on top. And where's the last fractal? It's at 83.36. There is a chance still to retest this top. I don't know if it will go that high though. What we can do is put a fib on this very last 50-minute world. And I would say what we could expect is probably 83.20. 83.30 might be a bit on the high side. But 83.20 or 83.16 would be level, kind of a hook back, right? A break, hook back to the trend line, hook back to the moving average, and continue. That would certainly not be strange. 83.30 might be on the high side. Could happen, but there's also a chance it might not. Target on the euro odd. Let's take a look, and then I'll have to close it up or close the webinar for today. Euro odd target. Oh, euro odd also broke indeed. Didn't think about that. What's the euro pound doing? I took the pound odd. Well, I guess both have a good breakout. The euro pound is moving up, but then again, it's also reaching a resistance. So I guess both have their advantages. In any case, the target for euro odd, let's see, if we fib the very last 15-minute world, we didn't even reach the 23.6, so you can imagine. Let's see. The first 272 target is at 155.30. Let me put a fib on this move up. I think the bigger target could be this top and this minus 1,000 and this minus 618. It's all around 156. We got three things there. So I wouldn't aim for, I mean, that's the target. I wouldn't have my TP there. I guess the TP I would put at 155.84 or 80, something like that. I mean, a good number of pips below 156. All right, folks, so thank you so much for being here. We'll be back tonight with Talantalat to take a look at scalping, in fact. We'll take a last look at the pound. You see? Still almost taken it, in fact. But it missed me just because of the spread, I guess. It went 2 pips below. But there is some bearish momentum. So I guess it's a question of time before it does get taken in. So let's see. In any case, I hope to see you tonight. That's 5 p.m. GMT or 6 p.m. Central Time. And wish you good trading today. Cheers, everyone.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call will be disconnected. Goodbye.